All right. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Bison, aka Bison Trades, over on Twitter. And welcome back to another episode of RareFUD Radio. We are cooking, boys and girls. We are cooking. Solana is on fire right now. We are up 40%, 50% at one point over the past couple of days. Bonk is going bonkers. We are certainly going to be talking about that. Holy cow, it has been on a run of epic proportions since we last talked on RareFUD Radio. And things are cooking right now. Liquidity is cycling back into NFTs. We're going to be talking a lot about that today and talking a little bit about strategies, what we're doing going into this, and how to play from positions of power. We're going to be talking about a lot of alpha today because we didn't on the last episode. We talked a lot about recap and had Salami Mommy on. We will have Salami Mommy on again here in the future. Because we just talked a little bit about, reminiscing and stuff. Salami Mommy is alpha. Definitely want to get him back on. But, of course, joining me as always is my wonderful co-host, Dorian. Dorian, how you doing, my man?
Yo, what's going on, dog? Every day's a holiday, and today feels like Christmas, man. Bonk dropped us a ton of coin on Christmas, but it took a little bit longer for us to realize that present. So I'm feeling good, man. Took some massive profits. I'm still in Bonk. But yeah, man, I'm feeling hella good, dog.
Yeah, dude. I am like over the moon. This is insane.
It's
We're
bonkers.
definitely gonna be. Yeah, it is bonkers, dude. It is wild. Let's go ahead and bring on Joe. Joe, how you doing, my man? Good to see you.
Hey guys, doing well, man. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties again. East Coast.
Oh no. You're on that Joe connection right there.
It's
Joe.
East Coast Xfinity. I don't know what monopoly that is, what big business is hiding behind that front, but get it together, okay? Thank you.
Oh, that's okay. We'll work with it, Joe. Man, nothing like starting out the new year with Joe Ruggin. That is
Of course, man.
just
No other way.
reverting back to the mean over here. Guys, let's talk a little bit about the market. We got to have a market recap. According to Soul Sniper, we are at 431,000 Solana volume over the past 24 hours. That does not account for exchange art or anything like that. Let's go ahead and check on TIEXO. TXO. We'll go ahead and call it TXO. 543,000 Solana volume over the past 24 hours, according to TXO. Holy cow, we are absolutely flying here, and it feels like it too. We've seen a lot of substantial moves to the upside, and a lot of that, from my hypothesis, is based on Bonk. Everybody got a free airdrop. Some people papered it off the rip. Don't blame you. You never know with meme coins. You might as well take the volume while you can, or the value while you can. We in the dojo somehow knew that this was going to do a nice little pump. I did not expect it to pump this much, man. Holy cow, we absolutely ran up. We are at 100, we'll call it sat cents, Satoshi cents. If you guys don't know, Satoshi is the smallest decimal place of a Bitcoin. So it's 8 decimal places to the right. And this is measured in dollars too. So sat cents, we'll call it sat cents. We are sitting at about, last time I checked, we're at 107 sat cents. This is a huge run to the upside. Last time we talked on the show, I mean, it ran a good little bit. We are at like 10 sat cents. We have now 10x since the last time we talked.
Yeah.
And the market's feeling it. Everybody's cycling that liquidity that they got airdropped back into NFTs. And a lot of projects are running right now. Sol itself is running. We've had a 15% gain over the past 24 hours. Things are going good. This is a great start to the new year. And when you start feeling this sort of elation, this euphoria, as we always say, it is good to take profit. So I will tell you right now, personally, I have been taking profits where I can. I've been pretty aggressive with it. Sold out of my ovals at 29.7. I'm glad I did. Using Joe's magic Fibonacci lines that kind of helped me see extensions and said that looks like a pretty good place to take profit, and I sold the top. Thank you, Joe.
Yo, when Joe puts lines on a chart, man, it's like it is now like written in stone. It's going to happen. Always go according to Joe's charts.
Yeah, I feel like an apprentice witch doctor over here using his magic voodoo lines. But I charted it out myself, and I was like, yeah, that feels like a pretty good place to take profit. And I did. I took profit on bonk. I sold 50% of my bonk bat. I'm still sitting on 1.2 billion. But I've been aggressively taking profits. The reason being is because I want SOL exposure. I want to make sure my bags are liquid. And I have any sort of capital preservation to take advantage of opportunities. But want to kick it over to you guys, as I always do. Dorian, we'll start with you, then run to Joe. How are you feeling about the market right now?
Yo, man, I'm feeling hella good about the market, dog. We're seeing this massive pump in bonk, which I also agree with you, Bison. That's kind of leading into the pump in SOL as well. People are taking profits or bonk, rotating that into SOL and rotating that SOL into NFT projects. So yeah, man, it's pretty incredible. We've recently seen bonk get a couple listings for exchanges, not two major ones yet, but who knows? They could be on the horizon. And if they do, we're going to have a lot of these retail people and people who aren't familiar with the ecosystem continue to buy in. Not sure how quickly that's going to happen, but with the people behind the team, it's very likely to happen in the near future, and I wouldn't fade them. These guys got connections that run hella deep. If you see Tolly and Raj retweeting things that deal with bonk, you know they got connections. Not only that, it's like I see people not only on the Twitter timeline, but even in our chat today, talking about, oh, I papered my bonk or whatever. You got to change that perspective on it. You don't know what this price is going to do. Money's relative to whoever. It's like you take profits when you can. I think it's more important for people to focus on the process of decision making and not on the outcome. You can be extreme degen and hit 1000x. However, if you continuously do that, you're going to wipe your portfolio out instead of making constant good decisions that will result in the same amount of multiples over time.
Yeah, exactly, dude. That was incredibly well said. Somebody clipped that. Dorian, that was, I mean, I cannot agree more. Is that, look, if you feel like you papered your bonk and you made a 3x return, you made a 3x return. You could then turn that liquidity into somewhere else, make a 2x return. Now you're sitting at 6x. And so it's all about compounding gains. We talk about it a lot on the show. And if you come in with that mindset, you're going to be successful in this market. It's also important to kind of have like an emotional audit where you are seeing if you are euphoric, if you are like over the moon, if you're like, this is the greatest week ever. That's how I was feeling. I'm now comparable to my best trading week ever in terms of SOL. Most of that was due to bonk. You know, I made 90 SOL on my first big sale, then 190 on my second big sale. And so I just, that's 280 in profit, and that I'd also covered my cost basis. And so now I can ride that, and I have no emotional attachment or concern. I'm not constantly checking the charts when it comes to bonk. And you can do that in a couple of different ways. Just like you can DCA in, you can DCA out. And so taking 10% off, 10% off, 10% off, and just kind of scaling out your bag so you can still ride some, but you're taking out the cost basis. You're taking out profits. You're making sure that you don't feel bad if you do round trip a bag. So, Dor, I could not have said it better myself. It's all about rolling over those returns, making sure you're liquid, making sure that you have a good emotional state. So definitely hats off to you. Great point. Joe, I want to kick it over to you. How you doing, my man? Oh, Joseph. Man, technical difficulties. That is okay.
Wouldn't be a way to kick off the year without Joe rugging. It's great.
I know. Bless his heart.
There we go. There we go. Yes. Yeah, man, it's Wi-Fi's in and out. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, dude, this market's been crazy. Euphoria is creeping in, and I tweeted it. So I took profits, right? I cut bonk, not all of it, but a 60%. I cut, I think, 25% of my SOL, liquid SOL. Threw it in the USDC, and going to watch some key areas here for Solana and bonk to look at re-entries or more selling, possibly, you know? And other than that, I'm happy with the NFTs that I have in my bag at the moment. And excited to see what happens with this liquidity that's swimming right now. And going to look into the new CPI numbers, and we'll wait to see what's really going on there. But just, yeah, risk management is key at the moment for me.
Yeah, Joe, I want to get your opinion on this because, you know, when you're if you don't have a watch list set up in TradingView, I would encourage everybody to do so. TradingView is a free tool. You can pay for the pro version if you want to, but I run off the free version. I usually renew my pro subscription at Black Friday, which we talked about on the Black Friday episode, but Want to get your opinion because we've seen a 15% move to the upside for Sol, yet the rest of the market's pretty stagnant. I mean, it's not like a huge red day. It's like 0.5%. Why are we seeing this like crazy inverse correlation and decoupling with Sol and the rest of the market?
Yeah, so I think it's a few reasons. We lost a lot of market cap and dropped down on that ranking. We got picked up by some Telegram and Reddit groups. Went long on Doge and LTC and these other, more easily manipulated market cap tokens that still have some good revenants to it. And I think that played a part in it, as well as the memeing of the Vitalik tweet. As well as Bonk, trending, and you have to, get through Sol somehow, bridge Sol over, whatever. So I think it's a perfect storm of just Sol being undervalued, under $10 truly for what's still being built here, and the amount of downloads that are happening of our technology to build here, the amount of devs that are downloading, right, above Ethereum and all these other chains. So I think a couple things, memes, and then real undervalued people realizing it's undervalued and coming in to capture that cost basis. So I think it's a couple different tangents there, but I think they all kind of work within each other.
Yeah. It's been real fun to see kind of, and we don't have enough price history to say this for sure, but it's nice to see Bonk is almost a hedge against Solana. And if you guys look at the chart, whenever Solana goes down, we generally see a nice little pump in Bonk. So the fact that we have a coin that is a hedge that has potential upside is so good. And it has a ton of liquidity. Dude, $22 million worth of Bonk has traded over the past 24 hours. And so we're seeing a lot of liquidity. We're seeing people go into these liquidity pools, make insane yields. If you guys don't know, you can go on orca.so and set up a liquidity pool there. There's a few good videos out there. I'll see if I can go ahead and link those later in the show notes. But setting up a liquidity pool is a great way to make sure that you're still gaining some sort of yield and exposure to Bonk while also holding Sol and just locking up some liquidity that's needed. This is like healing our DeFi system in a sense. This is why I love Bonk, is because look, you can consider it a meme. You can be goofy and start hating on Bonk, but this is exactly what Solana needed at a time of its like greatest downfall. And we're seeing it. This is the revival we were hoping for. We did see a bottom literally at $8, which $8 to $10 if you bought around there, which I got a second buy in at $8.50, which I was pumped about. I bought in right around the national championship. I thought it was a good omen that, hey, UGA is somehow pulled off that win. But if you got in around there, I mean, like, this is setting you up for the long haul. This is the $80 Ethereum moment, in my opinion. Not financial advice. We're bozos trading JPEGs, but this just feels like the exact reversal that we needed, the exact response I wanted to see in price action. And I'm hopeful. I do think we revisit that low 10, maybe high 9s range, but I think that's where we take off. And I think like Sol's starting to heal. We're starting to see NFT movement. Bonk is healing our DeFi in some sort of sense. We're getting TVL locked up in liquidity pools, and it's just healthy to see. It's a healthier environment than what we saw just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, dude, like Bonk has like, it's the savior that we needed. And like, not all heroes wear capes, man. Like, Bonk has brought so much eyes back onto Solana because like all of NFT consists of DeFis, all of crypto consists of degens, dog. Like people are always looking for that coin or that meme coin to rally behind to try to get that pump. The fact that the all eyes are looking, like I think even Nifty was talking about Bonk the other day. Just seeing this inflow of liquidity into Bonk helps the Sol ecosystem out, because now that all these new people are getting Phantom wallets, they're like, hey, I got a Phantom wallet. I might explore Solana a little bit more. I might engage in NFTs a bit more than I would have in the past. And also, you hit on the liquidity in Bonk, dude. The liquidity pool is massive for Bonk, dog. We're looking at like 850K in Bonk for the liquidity pool. So it's like your ability to trade without slippage in that pool is pretty nuts, man. And like the fact that people have provided that much liquidity for a meme coin shows that this coin is more than just a meme coin. There's something a lot of people know that hasn't been released yet. We have Lieutenant Lollipop out there just constantly tweeting about how much bonk he's buying. And he's been buying at progressively higher and higher levels. So while this dude has an amazing entry, he's been putting massive amounts of liquidity, staircasing up to where I think he even recently brought the all-time high with a massive amount of bonk. So when you see bullish stuff like that, he's extremely transparent. I wouldn't necessarily call him a typical influencer because he's not about to dump on you. He could take profits, but he's not about to dump as other people would.
Yeah, he is incredibly transparent, and I think that's why I like Lollipop so much. But he did say like, hey, I took out my initial cost basis, which we preach all the time on this show. He said I took out my initial cost basis of 6,000 Sol, and I'm just riding the rest. I think he still has like 260 billion bonk or something like that. That is crazy, but that's good. That's healthy. We need people that are like, look, this is free house money. I'll round trip it if I want to because I took my cost basis out, and I'm not looking to like completely trim it and dump all over people like some other people. Let's talk about the ecosystem because I do think this is really key information. So you can see Solana is healing. Daily first signers, we're pretty much stagnant. We haven't really seen a whole lot of new blood come in. However, that's not the key statistic. I think what happens when we see a revival in an ecosystem is that old participants come back into the ecosystem. We now have 12,000 buyers over the past 24 hours. Just 2 weeks ago, it was 6,000. So we've doubled that. You can see the number of unique Sol receivers and senders has creeped up tremendously on hellomoon.io. And so we're seeing a lot more activity on chain, and that is helping our ego. We're starting to see velocity of money, which we always talk about here on the show as well, that is a healthy ecosystem. We want volume, which brings eyes eventually. And so having a nice 50% gain to the upside for Sol, having bonk absolutely run. I mean, it's making news headlines. It was on CoinDesk. It's been all over Twitter. You can't really escape bonk right now. And even ETH and Cardano and everybody else are looking at bonk saying, what the hell is happening on Solana? You're getting people interested. That is healthy for the ecosystem.
No, well said, dog. Completely agree.
Yeah. So, anyways, good job if you guys are holding on to bonk or you trimmed your cost basis. If you even made a 3x or 2x return, like pat yourself on the back. You traded it well. And don't think about what could have been. Think about what will be, and I think that is like, as good of advice as I can give you is that you can roll over that capital into another play and you will make those gains,
Sorry for cutting you off, Bison. No, dude, I can once again, I feel like we're like both preachers up here just preaching today. It's like, no, I completely agree with you on what you said about stop focusing on like what could have been and where it is now and where things can go. I mean, paraphrase that, of course. But because we're at a new all-time high, it's like all-time highs are constantly being broken. It's like if new users continue to come in, this thing can pump to astronomical levels. I'm not hyping up, I'm not saying that it can, but there's that possibility there. Nobody thought it was going to get this far. So you might be buying the current all-time high, but who says that it won't do another 10 or 100x? I mean, I'm just putting that out there. There's like, nobody knows what this thing's going to do. Nobody. And like, there's also enough wells in it that I don't think is going to crash as hard as people think it is.
Yeah, a lot of people are pointing to the number of bonk held by the top wallets. And I think a lot of people don't understand the vesting schedule that's behind it. A lot of the people, the initial contributors or whatever, the founding contributors, whatever they call themselves, are vested over a 3-year period. That is a long time. We are in the first week of bonk. Like they're going to make sure that bonk is successful because they're vested. They're vested. They have a vested interest in this token succeeding to some way, shape, or form, some extent, and they have the connections, like Dorian said. So I do think bonk is going to be okay. This is why I took my cost basis out, though, because I can ride this to the moon or I can round trip it to 0. I don't know what it looks like, but I will probably set, a mental like, hey, let's go ahead and take profits here if it does start just absolutely collapsing.
Oh, yeah.
But I took my cost basis out. I made massive profits on it. I'm fine either way it goes. And that's why I can emotionally audit myself and say I'm good whatever way this cookie crumbles. So, yeah, bonk is great. Let's talk about some NFTs, though. I got to give props to the OG collection, SMB hitting new highs. We're now at 314 floor. Yeah, it's really good to see. And, we continue to say that if the DAO separates themselves from the devs, I think, and we were talking to Jux about it on No Fluff today, but I think if if that event ever happens where they rid themselves of the devs who do nothing and still collect royalties or did collect royalties and can separate and make the project their own, that's the sky's the limit. They are the crypto punks, in my opinion, of Solana. And so if that ever happens, I think a lot of, that's kind of what I'm waiting for to see if I want to buy an SMB. The time to buy an SMB speculatively was the November crash or leading up to this run up. It's now at 314. We've never seen these highs before for Solana Monkey Business. Hats off to them. Hats off to people like Nam and Simon and everybody else on the DAO who does so much for them. Getting paid virtually nothing. I mean, a lot of these people go unpaid. They just want to see Solana Monkey Business succeed. So got to give my hats off to them. And it's really interesting to see people are rotating their bonk profits into projects. So where are they putting these profits into? That's where I'd like to see where the cash flow goes into. And so SMB is one of the top ones. We're seeing Famous Fox had a nice run up. They almost hit, I think at one point they did hit 100. They've retraced a little bit, but I love the Foxes. The Foxes have done so much for this ecosystem. We've seen a lot of the mid chips that we talked about. Ovals, Claynosaurs, Liberty Square had a nice run up. So these mid chips that we talked about are coming for the crown. They've all had nice run ups too. So if you made any of those plays, congrats to you. Kind of want to get your guys' opinions on where NFTs are at right now, because again, I'm in aggressive profit taking mode. There's a few collections I want to stay in. Cyber Sams, REMS. I've always said that just because I am part of the REMS team and I'm on the advisory board of Cyber Samurai. But I want to get your guys' thoughts on any NFTs you haven't trimmed on and why. Let's go over to Joe first, and then we'll hit Dorian. Joe might have rugged.
Again. No, yeah, it's very laggy. But yeah, aggressive profit taking as well for me. I had some IRL stuff I needed actual profits for, and my bag that I was trading with was with the DCA that I was doing under $18. So I was really able to capture some real profits with, investing in some of these projects below 11 SOL and then 12 SOL and then riding that back up and then taking that profit out today around $13.30. So for me, I'm sitting on the bags I have trusted, and now I'm just going to wait on the sidelines. I got bonk exposure, let my NFTs that are in my ledger chill. And I'm hanging out right now, just looking for what the market wants to do, right? Does it want to cool down or does it want to find some consolidation and extend? But in that meanwhile, I'll just be waiting for either of the or.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joe, I mean, this is a good time to take profit, and so you could not have picked a better time to take profits for your IRL stuff that I know what's happening that is for another good financial move. So again, guys, it's all about rotating capital into something that makes sense for you. Dor, I want to kick it over to you. Obviously, you're going to hold Cyber Sams till they go to zero or to Valhalla.
Yes.
And is there anything else that you're really like holding on to? You're like, no matter what the market fluctuates, this is going to be my long-term hold.
Yeah, believe it or not, SMB, dog, surprisingly, right? Just like out of all the things that you said, it's like my highest conviction right now is, other than Cyber Samurai, is SMB. I don't foresee them going anywhere. And if they do manage to acquire SMB, it'll from the previous, like the wallet from the previous founders or whatnot, it's absolutely going to rip. But even without that, they're really setting themselves up to be the crypto punks of Solana. I think as long as Solana's around, SMB is going to be around. And if I pick up a second one, I know I mentioned this on several episodes before, but even if the price, the SOL price pulls back to like 200 or 150, as long as SOL appreciates in the future in accordance to USD, which I think it will do, it's like, I'm going to be good, dog. And SMB, I think, is in a prime position to become the #1 NFT on Solana. And if they manage to get a foothold in that position, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think they'll be the top dog as long as this ecosystem is around.
Yeah. I mean, SMB is just such a comfy hold, in my opinion, because the upside is there. Like we said, that one catalyst could propel them to new heights, and they deserve it. I mean, SMB seriously is the best group of builders that are only constrained by the original devs just being turds, and that's it. If they stop doing that or they acquire the Mint Authority and all the keys to the appropriate wallets for SMB, sky's the limit. So I agree. I think the upside's still there. I gotta give a hat tip to a couple of things. One, if you guys aren't in Shake's Trading Temple, it's a free Telegram. He makes his calls. You can't chat in there or anything like that. If you had Samurai, we do talk about it in our dojo chats a lot. So we called Bonk literally when it first released. And I appreciate him helping stoke my conviction in Bonk. Like I always knew I was always going to buy some, but because of his conviction really helped like give me the generation of idea that it is going to, like, we got to stop capping it. Oh, just a 2x or 3x return. Like this thing could run. And he's been cooking over there. If you guys don't subscribe to his Telegram channel, he makes calls. Got to give my hats off to Shake for that, because he's been cooking over there. And then the other one is Wise Whales. If you guys don't have a Wise Whale, it is something that minted not too long ago on Elixir. It is an NFT. It does give you access to their Discord, where they basically track like profitable traders and gives you alerts on what's happening in the market. So anything that has momentum, and I'm a big momentum guy. Any sort of momentum I see in NFTs, I want to be a part of. And their clip rate, their success rate over there is like 80% so far. They called Immortals at 6. They ran up to 11. They called Tayo Pilots at like 30. They ran up to 41. P2, Genesis, they called a bunch of other little collections, and they ran up a good substantial bit. So that's already paid for my Wise Whale cost basis. I got to mint 2 of them. I did sell one at 12 SOL, and I'll just ride the other one out. But Wise Whales, right now, I think it's like an 18 SOL floor. Last time I checked, it might even be higher than that. But honestly, it's one of those investments that could pay for itself. Not financial advice, but if you guys want to see what kind of wallet activity they're tracking and how it can be successfully used, because you can go over to the chart and just kind of run through some analysis. They've been really good, really useful, and I've definitely partaken on a couple of their calls and made a nice return on it. So just want to shout them out: Shake's Trading Temple and Wise Whales. And then in terms of stuff I'm holding, I already talked about Rems and Cyber Samurai. I am looking at Claynosaurs. I called this out a couple episodes ago at 26. I haven't seen enough of a run to the upside, and I think they're one of the few that on this pump that we've seen a lot of liquidity go into. I'm expecting more. I expect more. I think once announcements start kicking in, we'll start seeing a run up to the upside. So I'm holding on to those. I have 3 of them. I have 3 clay makers to go with them. I'm holding on to Liberty Square because I think they're supposed to give out a bonk airdrop. Lily and Lotus that I have planted, I'm holding on to those again for the possible bonk. Those are supposed to be distributed to holders. Outside of that, I'm pretty aggressively taking profits. Oh, and Catalina Whales have had a nice little move to the upside. I still think there's more in it because, again, just going back to the thesis of Claynosaurs, I do think they have enough catalyst in the medium term, maybe not short term, to make a run up, but you could probably find better plays elsewhere if you're looking for short-term gains. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. Dorian, I want to kick it over to you. What are your thoughts on that? I know you've been following Shake's advice, and Shake cooks. He's very connected in this market and has his finger on the pulse.
Yes. That's one of the things that led me to, or kept me in Cyber Samurai, is like I got into Cyber Samurai early, and like when the floor was like 3 SOL back when they first minted, and it pumped up a little bit and then fell below mint. But the reason I stayed around is because Shake was so connected, and dude knows what he's doing. There are very, very few people in this space other than like Shake, Joe, Bison, and like 2 to 3 other people where if they say, hey, this is the play, I just ate. Like those. So it's important for you to find your group of people who you trust, who know what they're doing, and not just because we trust Shake doesn't mean that you should trust Shake. You should build your own conviction and like get to know him and like know him, understand his trading background and his connections to build your own conviction in his calls. Because like you not knowing Shake on a personal level, and to get to know him on a personal level isn't that difficult. You just pick up a Cyber Samurai and hang out. So it's not some like intangible thing. Not knowing him on a personal level will get you in a result of just following anybody's calls. Even Joe tweeted out something the other day. Is like, and I'm paraphrasing, Joe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but it was something along the lines of like, you're just posting charts not for people to follow you, but for educational purposes. And that's what people get too mistaken. It's like, yo, it's like, why y'all copy trading Joe? It's like, figure out your own strategy, but at the same time, find your group of friends. They don't need to be somebody well-known. It's just needs to be somebody you have conviction in and who you trust to copy trade or to, you know, at least ape when they ape.
Yeah. Dude, finding a group of people in this market will be like one of the greatest
Mm-hmm.
edges you can possibly have,
Yep.
because one person can only look at so many things or so many charts. 10 people can look at 10 times more, and so
Mm-hmm.
it is more or less like finding a good group of people that aren't using you for exit liquidity,
Yep.
because there are definitely people that are
And,
predatory like that.
and a
Um,
lot of these big trading groups, they're like, oh, this is a trading group for like 100x meme coins or whatever. It's like those groups are only meant to extract liquidity from each other. You ape in, and then somebody's going to get dumped on. While it's like having that group that Bison was talking about is a net positive overall, not only in terms of the visibility of different things you can look at, but the variation of trading styles. Bison and Joe are completely different. Like we do share some overlap, but overall they have their own trading style, which I benefit from because I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have recognized this if I didn't know them. And same thing with Shake. Shake trades differently than I do. So having him as a resource and having access to his network and Bison's network and Joe's network has been a huge value add, has only helped me grow.
Yeah. And growth right now is just going to compound itself. I mean, it is just like your portfolio. Um, especially right now, Sol is still down bad. Like, people are willing to connect with you on a personal level. So, Joe, I want to kick it over to you. Let's talk a little alpha. I know you got some stashed away, hidden away. What are you looking at right now? And I know that you're saving a lot of liquidity for IRL things that you're going to roll over into an investment. But I want to talk to you about any projects that you think, even after this nice little run up, could have some more upside to them.
Yeah, so I'm looking I'm looking at strictly utility plays, so either social infrastructure or actual like back end. So I think Elixir, if that comes back around like 22 to 23 area, before any big announcements, I think that's a good one that has some legs still. Claynosaurs, I believe, have some good legs still. Believe it or not, I do think that SMBs do have room to run, especially if a bullish catalyst comes out, like a settlement deal or something like that. So these are all little play. And honestly, dude, I was thinking about Tio's Gen 1s. High 100s, low 200s might be a play. I don't know. I was just looking at Wise Whale, actually. If you go check that out, and Future Traders, both on Wise Whale have been called. So I've been having my eyes on those as well. So
Yeah.
some of them.
Yeah, Tayo is definitely the interesting one that, again, we always look for catalysts. I would say we're mostly momentum traders here, and knowing that catalysts are coming up, we fall on the spectrum of those. Those are two of like the most important things for us that doesn't have volume, so it has legs to run, and then doesn't have a catalyst coming up for more of a medium term kind of swing trade. And Tayo has graphite coming out. They haven't released enough for pilots. I don't want to say enough. They haven't released as much as they are going to for pilots yet. And so having plays in that ecosystem, I mean, pilots ran up to 40 from
they're sitting at 40. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they've had a nice run, and I do think that they're going to bring some unique fun to the ecosystem. So I'm not sleeping on pilots. I think they're appropriately priced at 40 right now until we start releasing stuff. So I don't think there's much upside. If you guys are looking to buy pilots, maybe look for a pullback. Infants, I think, or Gen 2. We forbid the word infants on this stream. Gen 2s were a buy, but now that they're 86, they should be valued about 33% of a Gen 1, right? I mean, like, if you talk about in staking terms and rewards and everything like that, and then the fact that you do have a Gen 1 should be a premium, and Gen 1s aren't valued that way. Right now, Tayo Gen 2 is sitting at, let's see, the Gen 1 is sitting at 216. And if we look at Tayo Gen 2, don't want to say infants, they're sitting at 81. So therefore, you can either assume that Gen 2 is overvalued or Gen 1 is undervalued, and you can take your picks appropriately. You can't really short infants or Gen 2, but you can buy Gen 1. So if you're willing to make that sort of assumption that, hey, these should be 3 times as valuable as an infant, and you think that 81 is going to hold, well, then Gen 1 should be about 240. So there's about 30 soul spread there. That could be an interesting swing play. And I would agree, Joe. I think Gen 1s are definitely the best buy out of the Tayo ecosystem right now. And then oil, too. I think they're going to do cool things with oil after the drop. I mean, of course, we always say once you get airdropped your stuff with the pilots, things were going to decline. A lot of smart people picked up them around like 10 or less soul. that's a very interesting play, and that does sound like they're going to be a key to, future airdrops. So could be an interesting play, speculative play right over there. But I think Tayo Gen 1 is definitely the safest play out of all of them. So if you have the liquid to do so, maybe you absolutely cooked on Bonk, that could be a pretty safe play to harbor your profits.
No, dude, like you and freaking Joe hit the nail on the head, dog. I think Gen 1s are a bit undervalued right now, and so are infants because they have not released that staking. All eyes are on pilots right now, which gives them all the hype and momentum. But once that graphite staking is released, or graphite's released, and infants start getting that staking, we're going to see that as a bullish catalyst for Gen 1 and infants. And I think we're going to see a hard price pump in both of those collections. People are asking, I had a couple people ask me, it's like, oh, should I be picking up a Tayo or a pilot? I'm like, no, you should be saving up that liquidity to try to get a Gen 1 and Gen 2 or Gen 2. Pilots are still the third collection in the entire ecosystem. The value typically flows to the first collection. So if you can get your hands on that first collection, you're going to get more value back from that than holding a pilot. That's why another reason I floored my pilots, I have no interest in having pilots. If I want an entry into the entire ecosystem, I'm picking up a Gen 1. It's just simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, it like I've said, Gen 1 does feel like it is the safest play in the Tayo ecosystem right now. And if I were to bet anything, which you can go on, I think Ape and Labs still has their futures platform up. If you wanted to be a DGen and not have complete exposure to it, but you want exposure to the upside, you can actually long it on 3x leverage if you want the potential upside. So I think you can only take 2 SOL positions at a time, but you can do multiple of them. So if you wanted to do 10 positions at 2 SOL each, you can do that and do it on 3x leverage. So not financial advice, but if you want to be DGen and have some upside, you can definitely gain some exposure that way. I do think Tayo has room to the upside. If we're talking about blue chips, I think OK Bears still has been pretty stagnant. I'd like to see some more room to run upwards.
Dude, one thing I learned though, don't fade the Bears, man. Me and you've been bullish on Bears forever. I'm no longer going to fade the Bears.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to either. And but I just don't know if they're the best play right now. I think you can probably
find they need a marketing or PR guy. I sat in a Twitter space and I wanted to rip my hair out listening to them answer questions of their community members that have been like, hey guys, I've been around for 9 months holding bags, so nice and sweet. Could you tell me maybe what you're gonna do? Nah, man, don't shut up.
Yeah,
you'll figure it out. Can't tell you nothing. Can't even give you a sprinkle of salt. Oh God, dude, just 5%, just some little cool video, trailer, something. You know what I'm saying? And that boom, that goes, dude. It goes. We just need a little sprinkle of seasoning. Okay.
Yeah, for sure, Joe. I cannot agree more that this is a project that has a war chest. You can find some way to at least I heard they have NDAs, so they can't disclose some of the stuff, but bro, you can find some stuff in between now and then to hype up the project and get some buzz going. Like, it should not be that hard. So that being said, Cyber Samurai actually ran up to 10 SOL. We are at 10 SOL now. That's still undervalued in my opinion. The reason being is because they're giving 10 billion bonk away to new holders, 100 holders. Now, Dor, I will let you say first on this podcast. Have we reached that 100 new holder threshold yet?
Am I rugging or is Bison rugging?
I hope I'm not rugging. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, you were a bit delayed. What was your question again?
I was seeing if that we hit 100 new users yet for Cyber Samurai.
So even, and that's the thing, that's why Shake and I kind of designed it this way. Even if we hit 100 sales or new users, it has to be the first 100 people who stake for 30 days. So just because you purchase doesn't mean you went to staking, or there could somebody who purchased after you. So I have to confirm, I think we hit that 100 mark, but just because of that, you still shouldn't count yourself out. There might be a possibility we're going to manually go through a lot of this stuff to make sure that people weren't wash trading. So I'm sure there'll be people who get eliminated and aren't going to be eligible for this. But yeah, so I honestly think that if you want to get into the community, now's a perfect time for it. We'll be giving 100 million bonk per Cyber Samurai for the first 100 Cyber Samurai holders who stake for 30 days. Sorry, new holders who stake for 30 days, which is probably around what, 10 SOL right now. So
Yeah,
the
you're
Cyber
covering your
Samurai.
cost basis.
What's
Yeah.
up?
I said you're covering your cost basis with that
Yeah.
bonk. I mean, at current prices, who knows if
Yeah.
it holds, but I would imagine, look, the bonk has enough momentum that I would be surprised if it's not, close to 100 sat cents, which would be about 10 SOL.
Yep.
So yeah, like you said, I mean, right now is probably as good of a time as any to get into the Cyber Samurai ecosystem. Well, it was when it was 3-4 SOL when we were calling them out,
Yeah.
but
When we started talking about them, even when we were talking about them at 5 and 6, but whatever.
yeah, well, you can at least get your cost basis out in bonk, just for staking, just testing around, joining the dojo, getting all that sweet alpha that we dropped there. So definitely recommend. Not financial advice, I always got to say that, but there's never been a better time to be a Cyber Samurai new user. Go ahead and stake on Path Protocol. There is an announcement on Magic Eden if you are looking for some more information on how to go about it. So go ahead and check that out. Nonetheless, guys, there is aggressive profit taking. I did take a lot on ovals. I sold at 29.7. Like I said, I used Joe's magic fib lines to see where extensions were. See, do I want to take profit here? Yeah, I think I do. And immediately it went down to the downside. So now I feel like an apprentice witch doctor. That was cool. I also think, if Lily gets their airdrop, I think we could see a little bit more downside there in terms of bonk, because if you were planted with Lily and Lotus, you were supposed to get an airdrop, but because you're planted and they use custodial staking over there and give you a PNFT, all of the bonk that was attributed to those NFTs were going to that staking wallet. So they're going to figure out a way to get it to you guys. If you guys were planted, don't worry, it should be coming. And Bungiel basically made sure that you didn't paper it. So, maybe give him some thanks if you are the quick seller type, but also brings up that point that we say soft staking is supreme. We got ours immediately with Cyber Samurai. I will always say the soft staking is the future, the way forward for any sort of staking method, but that's neither here nor there. So, guys, anything else as far as alpha goes? I know this was a quicker show than we're used to, but dude, this was alpha galore. There's just been so much that's happened in the space since we last talked.
Yeah. I think right now because everybody's so euphoric, I think I mentioned earlier, I'm not buying anything right now. I'm looking for what's coming next. I'm like, I don't buy unless there's like severe depression. People think everything's coming to an end. Those are the buying times. When everybody's all happy and talking about things and pumping to the moon, I don't touch anything. I'm taking profits. So right now I'm trying to identify which meta's coming up next, what projects are going to have those potentials to pump. So I'm really looking at like gambling plays right now. I'm like, what was it? Immortals. I know they just came out pumped from 6 to 11. Probably do a little bit more research on them. Wait for a pullback. I was looking at dual bots. I think they're having a pullback right now. Maybe potentially get into them. But yeah, I'm going to look a little bit more into some of these gambling plays and even some of the utility plays that Joe was talking about. Just because I feel like we're coming up to the end of a mini hype cycle that we've entered. So once we do, we'll see a lot of these NFT utility plays have a slight pullback, but then we'll see them pump along in the future because during that bear market phase, they'll be integrating the projects, building out their ecosystems and stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at, just trying to identify the next meta.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a really good call. We like to always stay 2 steps ahead of the rest of the market here on RareFUD. And I would say that's a good call, Store. I mean, we saw dual bots have that insane run up to 86. And so, there is... I just think it can't be a simple casino play. It has to be something unique and innovative and add some sort of fun element to it as well. And I think Immortals could still be a good play at 11. We'll see what happens with it. But Joe, I want to kick it over to you. Any alpha we haven't talked about, anything that you're looking at as far as metas maybe that are coming up in the market? And we lost Joe. Okay. Well, in terms of what I am looking at right now, one, I got to give shout out to Nekozuma. Love Jet. They had a nice little run up to 4 SOL, and I still think, those low caps with high potential, and I think Nekozuma hasn't gotten their stripes just yet. I think they're still an interesting play. Now, it did run up like 300%, so take that with a grain of salt. But at 4 Sol, your downside risk is so little that could definitely still be a play. And I like Jet as a person is one of the best founders in the space. He's just a wholesome, good dude looking to do positive things for the ecosystem. And I will always back founders of that. I did sell 2 Nekozumas just so I can cover my cost basis. But other than that, I'm keeping my other 2. I will probably look to re-enter on any sort of pullback. Just giving you guys a disclosure on that. I'm not dumping on you or anything. The other 2 I'm holding on for a while. So another one that I think everybody is still sleeping on to some extent. They had a nice little run up, so maybe not so much now, but Underground Society is coming out with Core. Middle of the month is what their target date is. And when they release that, you will need 1 Underground Society in order to access that tool. It will be open to the public. You'll just get a little bit more fees. So you have to really decide if you're going to be active in the market and use the tool, if it makes sense to buy the NFT itself. It had a really good AMA with Hella Moon this morning. I was not expecting a Hella Moon AMA. I was out the door for the gym, saw that happen, said, I guess I'm waiting another hour, but I did listen to it. Jake is just a very articulate guy, and I think Underground Society has a lot cooking up for it. I think NFT-Fi is still here to stay, so looking on any pullbacks of Sharky-Fi, Elixir, and UGS are probably my 3 that I'm like, yeah, I definitely want some there. And then I already talked about Wise Whales. I think everybody should be looking to own one of them, but maybe at these prices a little bit more risky than when I got in at mint at 5 Sol. So, not financial advice. I'm not selling my 1 Wise Whale. I'll hold on to that until the platform just, either doesn't work or they run to Valhalla. I don't know, but that's about it. That's as much as I got. I'm going to give Joe one more shot, see if his internet's back. Joe, any metas or plays you got cooking? And I think he's gone radio silent.
Yo, Bison, real quick, just because I saw a question in the chat or whatever. It's like, any thoughts on baby secondary memes after Bonk? I just want to tell people, it's like, while the meme coin game can make you a ton of money, it's also like super risky and is not something I dabble in. The only reason I picked up Bonk is because I know who's behind it. I know who the distribution of it. I know who's providing liquidity. I know all these important things. I don't mess around with meme coins because I don't care how quickly they can go up, because it's too high risk, in my opinion. Most of the times, the individuals who create the coins are providing liquidity, and once they sell off, they rug the liquidity, and then everybody else is screwed. So I don't really mess around with those. I don't dabble in the ecosystem too much, so I don't really have any thoughts on babies. The fact that any other meme coin besides Bonk, I'm going to say, stay away from it. There's other safer plays that'll make your portfolio grow than getting into these meme coins.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Dor. If you wanted to play a safer meme coin and run off that narrative, I think Samo is probably a little bit safer of a play. It's a little bit more established, and it won't be like 100x like we saw with Bonk, but you can probably definitely get some gains out of there. I'm looking at the chart right now. It does look like a nice steady upside sort of play that still has a little bit more room to grow. Not financial advice, but if I'm going to play off the meme coin narrative, probably going there, or I'm just waiting for a pullback in Bonk. I mean, there have been plenty of pullbacks in Bonk. You just wait for it to dip below and then rip it, until the trend says otherwise. The trend line's heading way up. So, I just be safe with meme coins. I cannot stress that enough. Like, these are fun tokens. Bonk seems to actually have some sort of like market adoption, which is why I'm so bullish on them as well. People are building around Bonk. Like, there's Bonk mints happening. There are artists who are dropping Bonk mints. Like, we need to make sure that we are, I have my moon bag. It's already cost paid for. I took profit, so I can safely say like I'm holding on to my Bonk until proven otherwise. But if I were to mess with any other meme coins, it'd probably be Samoyed, which is another Solana token if we're running off that narrative. But I'm happy and content holding Sol right now. We've seen a nice little run up. I do think it cools off a little bit. We start retesting some range lows or local lows, and just playing that, because I'm more interested in staying liquid so I can take advantage of any sort of NFT drop that we saw from Sol running up, which we did. We saw a good bit of, like I said, ovals ran down a little bit. We had Famous Fox has drawn down. I almost bought a Famous Fox at 95, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for it to pull back a little bit. They're at 88, so we'll see. I just want to see some sort of like pullbacks on NFT prices so I can jump in. And again, it's all about positions of strength and just finding projects that you vibe with. Right now, I'm very content staying liquid, staying in Sol, staying in USDC where I see fit, and just swapping between those. But yeah, right now, I can't recommend a meme coin because you never know when the steam's going to run out, and you don't want to be holding that bag at all.
Yeah, well said, man. Like once again, it's like I don't touch it, and it's just like as my portfolio grows, I tend to look for lesser and lesser higher multiples or look for higher conviction plays. So I rather pick up like 4 or 5 Foxes or 1 Gen 1 Tayo or an SMB by getting into these low cap plays. It's just because yes, you can quickly increase the value of your portfolio, but also there comes a lot of high risk with that. Unless I know like the founder like super well, I tend to like dabble in less risky things. Because hey, 2 to 5x is good in my book, man. No problem with me. I don't need a 10 or 100x every day.
Yeah, any sort of gains. I mean, like to put it in context for you guys, like a good year for a fund manager is like 20%. So if you're making a 2x in like the span of a week, that is you're solid. It's just you can take lower position size. So take it with a grain of salt, take your dubs, roll them into other plays, and just watch for pullbacks. I mean, that's really the best advice I can give you right now is don't buy something that is pumping unless it has the momentum necessary to sustain it, which, I make those plays every now and then, but right now I'm big chilling in liquidity. I'm aggressively taking profits on some of these 2x, 3x plays I made in the NFT market. And then, just waiting for bonk airdrops. I should still get like 600 million or something like that between Lotus, Lily, and Liberty Square, I'm hoping. But we'll see about that. I just took profits on that. I'm happy to stay liquid. And I think, you don't always have to make a play.
Quick question, Bison. Did D-Gods and Utes get an airdrop for bonk?
No, they didn't.
Good.
Yeah, they there's I'm not gonna get into the drama that ensued there, but yeah, there's a lot of disgruntled D-Gods holders, and they're moving to ETH and Polygon. So like I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it too much. That's they didn't get an airdrop. That's all I know.
Look, this might be a hot take, but it's like it seems fine. Your founder came out with the decision, which I respect, that you're moving to another chain. So why would you get an airdrop for something that's Solana based? I understand that you did build your brand on Solana. At the same time, it's like the ecosystem owes nothing to you, as Frank owes nothing to the ecosystem.
Yeah. I mean, it's you played that game, and that's on you. You will move to another chain, and wish you the best of luck. I think Frank did good to put eyes on Solana, but he did kind of leave us at our lowest point. And so I'm not, look, now that we pumped, that's that. I'm gonna leave it at that. I wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors. And my heart's still on Solana. I still think this is the place to be. So Door, since we're losing Joe messaged and said he can't unmute for some reason. Anything else we want to cover before we wrap it up here?
No, just always appreciate everybody tuning in. Shout out to my boy Manny, leader of the resistance over there for Tayo Pilots. So thanks for tuning in, dog. Also, all the other audience members, appreciate you guys tuning in all the time and contributing to make the show better.
Yeah, it's always fun, guys. We love doing this. If you guys could go ahead and drop that subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're following us on Twitter. We do have RareFUD Radio. We have Door's Twitter. We have Joe's Twitter. We have my Twitter. Make sure you're following us on our podcast platforms if that is your preferred way of digesting information. And yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of RareFUD Radio. Viva la Resistance. If you guys are in Tayo Pilots, we are Resistance Maxis over here. We do love us some Manny, and it is the best faction in Tayo Pilots. That about does it for us on this episode of RareFUD Radio. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next episode of RareFUD Radio.